Chapter 5 Katie's Plans. Joan was up to her elbows in floor when the telephone rang. "Oh, bother," she groaned. "It's for you, sis," shouted one of her small brothers. "It would be. Who is it?" I said. "Who is it, please?" "Don't know." "Well, ask whoever is it to hang on for a minute while I wash my hands." Joan was now, in fact, talking to herself. Her brother had run into the garden and was throwing a ball to his laughing, shrieking brothers and sisters. "Hello," said Joan breathlessly into the phone. "About time." It was Katie. "Sorry, I was baking. Mum's out, and you know how much hectic it becomes during the school halls." "Never mind that. Listen, Joe, I must see you soon today. I've made some important plans that I must tell you about. I can't see you straight away, not till Mum comes home. Meet me later. Can you come to my house this afternoon?" "Yes, all right, as soon as I can. I don't know whether Mum needs me to help out here, but I'll be with you as soon as possible." "Good. See you. Bye." "Bye, Katie." Joan replaced the receiver and closed her eyes. She could guess what the urgent talk was about, but today, amid the noisy activity of her family, the disappearance or otherwise of a pampered millionaire rock star was far from Joan's mind. It was late afternoon by the time Joan arrived at Katie's and walked wearily down the path before she could ring the bell. The front door was flung wide open. "At last!" exclaimed Katie. "Mum's not home from work yet, so we can talk downstairs." "Katie, you're getting more and more mysterious. You mustn't let things run away with you." "Shut up, Joe. You don't know what I'm going to say yet." "No, but I can guess what it's about." "Ha ha." Katie ushered Joan into the front room and pushed her into a chair. "Like some Coke?" "Please, I've had a tiring day. My brothers and sisters are a real handful. I pity their teachers." Katie poured out 2 welcome glasses of Coke. Then she sat down and started to explain why she had summoned Joan. "I've worked out how we can work for the holidays and solve the Barry Nichols mystery." Joan sipped quietly at her Coke. Katie's seriousness couldn't help but make her smile. "Looks as if you have it all wrapped up," she said. "I have. We can combine the two." "How very clever of you to have solved our problems overnight." Joan laughed out loud. "Look at this." Katie was a little annoyed by her friend's behavior. She produced a folded newspaper. "Oh," smirked Joan. "I didn't know there was a sale on." "Please be serious for a moment." Katie passed her the newspaper and indicated the area she should be looking at. Joan peered for a while, trying to suppress her giggles, and finally announced that she was not clear which item Katie wanted her to read. "There, there!" cried Katie, pointing to a display advertisement in the Situations Vacant column. "Read that." Joan read aloud. "The King's Castle Hotel, Bristol, requires all grades of temporary staff for the summer. Please ring or write to Mr. Healy, the manager." She looked at Katie. Had the poor girl spent so much time pondering over the rock star affair that she was now going peculiar? "What on earth has this to do with us or with Barry Nichols?" she asked at last. "Don't you see? The next stop on Barry's nationwide tour is Bristol, and he'll be staying at that very hotel." "How was I to know that? Come to think of it, how do you know it?" "I have all the fan club info, remember? A complete list of the venues and dates." "But not hotels, surely. The fan club wouldn't tell you where he stays." "You're right. They wouldn't make such information generally available, or Barry would be besieged by fans. But I've been making my own inquiries." "Oh, yes? How?" "I rang Janet Macklin, the club secretary. She's become quite a good friend of Barry's, she told me." "Did you tell her about you know what?" "No, I thought I'd better not. I just started off by telling her that I'd won this prize to see his concert, and then I said casually, 'I suppose when he appears in Bristol he'll stay at the Big Posh Hotel, as if I couldn't remember the name of it. Then Janet said, 'The King's Castle, that's where he'll be.' She said that she would be staying there too, as she wants to write an article for the newsletter." "Did she go to the concert we went to?" "No, she's not seen Barry on this tour." So she won't know whether it's the real Barry or not? I suppose not. If he's an imposter, she'll soon spot him in Bristol then, said Joanne. Exactly, unless... Katie paused to think. Unless she too is implicated in this strange business. When we get to the hotel, we won't introduce ourselves to her, just in case she doesn't know what I look like. You're really serious about going to work in the hotel then? Wild horses won't stop me. What do you think all this is about? Don't say you're not coming with me. But I can't. The hotel's in Bristol. I know. There's no point in our trying to get jobs in Blackpool while Barry's in Bristol, is there? Katie, it's impossible. We couldn't. I certainly couldn't anyway. Why not? We'd have to sleep there. Of course we would. Hotel staff usually do when it's too far to go back home each night. But I can't stay away from home. Mom and Dad will go bananas. You can get round them. I've already persuaded my mother. You have? I'll say. I worked on her all yesterday. And she agreed to you working in Bristol? It's not that far away, for goodness' sake. Not the other side of the world. Besides, Barry's only doing 3 concerts in Bristol, though he'll be staying in the hotel for a week. If we haven't got to the bottom of all this during that time, and you really can't stand it, we can return home. Joanne rolled her eyes to the ceiling. If we spend all our time doing cloak and dagger work instead of making beds, we probably won't last there very long anyway. Great, Joe. I knew you'd come. Joanne sat up straight. I never said I would, but you must admit that you were quite taken by the idea. I don't. It's ridiculous. Don't you see that there's something we must do? It'll be a real adventure. You've obviously been reading too many of those paperback novels. Katie tutted. This is real life, Joanne. How many people ever have the chance to be involved in a real-life adventure? I'm not sure that I want to be involved in one. Thank you very much. I'm a bit of a coward when it comes to being brave. Nonsense. I've made up my mind we are going, and that's that. Oh, is it eh? Yes, it is. Haven't you forgotten one little detail? What's that? Like whether we'd get those precious jobs? Oh, didn't I tell you, said Katie smugly. We have already got them. Joanne's mouth gaped. I'm speechless, Katie Millwood. You've got a real nerve. I'm not as dim as I look, don't forget. Do you really expect me to believe that with millions unemployed you can fix a person up with a job before the person even knows anything about it? Katie shrugged her shoulders. That's about right. Yes, if you put it that way. Well, Katie, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You're destined for a career in politics. Thank you very much. It wasn't meant to be a compliment. Katie smiled. I took it as one. Joanne's voice had turned frosty. Please get one thing straight. I do not like being manipulated. Sorry, Joe, but I had to act quickly. If I had waited to ask you, all the jobs would have gone. In spite of herself, Joanne was curious. How did you pull it off exactly? I rang the manager, Mr. Healy. He was ever so nice. I told him how keen we were to get holiday jobs. You didn't say we had experience, I hope. No, I told him the exact truth, that we don't have any particular skills, but that we'd be willing to do anything, waitressing, cleaning, or cooking. He seemed impressed. Some of the skilled vacancies have been filled, but he said that he'd be short-staffed during the next few weeks when regular employees are taking their holidays. So he said he'd be glad to take on a couple of extra general dog's buddies. Charming, I must say. Do you expect me to be excited about getting a job as a dog's buddy? Katie was in full flow now, and she paid no attention to her friend's sarcasm. I told him that we could definitely start work next Saturday. That's the day Barry arrives. We'll have time to settle in and make preparations. Mr. Healy took all our details and promised to keep the vacancies open till then. I think my enthusiasm bowled him over. Perhaps, but he didn't know that your enthusiasm was entirely unconnected with dog spotting. Katie's cheeks were flushed with exhilaration. Don't you think it's all so wonderful, Joanne? Admit it. Give me some credit. All right, I must agree grudgingly that you have stage managed it all well. We are to set off as dog's buddies, feather duster in one hand, mop and bucket in the other, into high adventure, fraught with danger. Joanne, please tell me that you'll come. I can't do it on my own. I need you. Katie's sudden, uncharacteristic humility touched Joanne. She went silent for a few seconds, smiled, and said, I'm with you all the way. Katie breathed deeply. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. We're a team. We'll stick together. Through thick and thin, like Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, like Laurel and Hardy, more like, laughed Joanne. Not quite. We'll be just like professional undercover agents. I can hardly wait. Hang on, there's still another snag to overcome. What's that? My parents' permission. Oh, that. Don't worry, they'll let you go. How'd you know? Apart from the fact that they don't think I'll survive away from home, our mad household's need of me is far greater than the King Castle hotels. I'll talk to them if necessary for you. I'll get my mom to speak to your mom if necessary. Joanne grimaced. It will be necessary. Of course, you won't mention our real motives. Just pretend it's a straightforward job. They'll be glad you've shown such initiative. I doubt it. What objections can they possibly have? What can they say? What they usually say. 3 little words. You are too young. Then you'll have to convince them otherwise, won't you? I don't know if I can. Come on, Joanne. You know you can do anything if you try. I'll try. And you'll succeed. Welcome to the Katie Millwood School of Success. When are we due there? Saturday, did you say? Yes, we can go down the day before and arrive in the evening. Mr. Healy said we can have a good night's sleep before starting our duties early the next morning. I bet we'll be too wound up to sleep at all, considering our real purpose in going there. Perhaps. Thrilling, isn't it? It's not sunk in yet. Now, all you have to do is go back home and tell Mummy and Daddy where you're off to. Joanne smiled wryly. That's all, huh? Then we'll be on our way. End of chapter 5.